CRN, Chuck Wilder here. Let me tell you about my guest, Kimberly Dvorak, award-winning national security, border security, investigative reporter for TV, radio, and the print media. Kimberly is the senior foreign policy advisor for the Committee for Responsible Foreign Policy. She's a correspondent at CW6 News San Diego as well as One America News Network. And that website is the KD Report, and I think the KD Report Live streaming on Periscope.com, Facebook, YouTube a little bit later on. I believe she's in San Diego today.
I am in San Diego.
Kimberly, how are you?
I'm doing fine. Beautiful, sunny Southern California here. It's a gorgeous day.
Using sign language?
You know, kind of look to see, it's with the impeachment and all of this talk. Okay, there's clearly a lot of people that just don't like the president. They don't like what he's doing. And clearly a lot of his advisors even are not even, helping him out here. So we just don't know who is actually behind this. And I think Facebook, because they're taking such a beating with all of this, they've come out and said, look, this is, we went back in May earlier of this year. They had issues. They said they went in, they fixed the patch, they, blocked the malware that was coming in. But these people continue to do this. And what we're seeing is technology now being used against us. And, maybe this is somebody who wants to make Facebook look bad. We don't know. Maybe this is somebody who wants to change the election in 2020. We just don't know. And this is the problem when we have a few, a handful of people operating the social media. And we have Google. I mean, we just don't really have a lot. It's not a huge marketplace for people. So they really control the narrative.
It's almost like an unidentified whistleblower. Maybe there's somebody, that's hidden a mole inside Facebook. Maybe some people are thinking it goes all the way to the top. Is that ever entered your
yeah. Well, I mean,
thinking?
It does enter my mind. I worry about that. Like I say, we don't know. I mean, we learn new things every day about what people were doing, in the lead up to the 2016 elections. We see that Comey, who was the FBI director, was in essence a part of this. So we see all of this going on, and we're left to question. So when the government says, hey, you can trust us, or Facebook says, hey, you can trust us, well, evidence every day is coming out that we're like, well, maybe we really shouldn't be trusting you. And you have to also look at the millennials in this. And I like to talk about the millennials because they're going to run the country presumably someday here. And, these people are influenced and they get their news on social media. They're not going to Fox News. They're not going to CNN. That's not where they're getting their news. They're getting their news from Facebook, Google, Yahoo, BuzzFeed. And these are a handful of organizations who have a very different outlook than a lot of what America believes in. But this is the narrative again that they're able to push through, that they're able to get out there in front of, the young people that will be voting and change the entire way they think. I mean, in California, and I'm talking to people, they really think the planet's going to be dead in 10 years. I mean, they seriously think climate change here is going to do us all in like 10 or 15 years. So I mean, you sit there and you look at this like, but they're getting this from these social media platforms, and they're getting it from the Google, who regulates where you can, who comes up on the screen when you do your Google searches. I've been ghosted by Google. You can type my name in and you can type the exact name of a story and it won't come up. I've got to physically go to my website to get it. So this is the power that we're giving to a handful of people. But now when we see WhatsApp's been hacked, and it's diplomats and it's people in the government and it's visibly well-known media personalities that are being targeted. Now they're going to take an interest in it and they want to file a lawsuit. But we don't know. I mean, I couldn't, tell you that Facebook was filing this lawsuit out of the goodness of their heart, because their so-called fact checkers weren't really even fact checkers. I mean, so we really can't trust the investigators, I guess is what we're trying to say here, to investigate themselves. But I think that we're talking about impeachment and all this, and that's eating up all of the time on air the last few weeks and that. But I think what we have here, and that's why I wanted to discuss this, is I think that what we have here is a possibility of something that really could affect the outcome of the 2020 election, and they're going to be doing this in plain sight. So if it benefits the Democrats, they're going to be whatever. Who cares? It's going to benefit us. But you just have to question everyone. As journalists, we try to question, or at least I try to question everyone. So I don't know if Facebook is genuinely upset about this and they're suing them for this, or if this is just another, don't look what's going on over here because we're doing this over here situation. And sadly, they have not earned our trust any longer.
When you mentioned Google, whenever Hillary and Trump, before the election and everything was going on, both of them running top spots and all this.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you something. It's not your imagination, but here's what I'm getting at. If you're just one of the people out there that aren't involved in journalism or broadcasting, you don't realize that whenever we talk about how Google would misdirect you, if you wanted to try to find something about a conservative or a person like that.
Yeah.
I mean, there were so many websites that I used, well-known websites, that you would go there and it would say they're temporarily down or whatever.
Yep, the 404. You bid 404. Yeah, that's what they use, the 404. I thought that would be a good name.
Here's the other thing is, see that Facebook and all these other people, they're not up against it. It's not as bad as it used to be, but the FCC, the Federal Communications Commission, we have a lot of, rules that we have to follow. It seems like these people are just like, well, we're just dealing with the average Joe and Susie out there, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that serious. But I'm telling you, when they can take over an election, it is. It's very, very serious. I wanted to ask, I don't know if you mentioned it, Pegasus, is that what it's called?
Pegasus,
Pegasus.
Yeah.
I heard a lot about that. In your opinion, is it on a scale of 1 to 10? What do you think? Because what happened here, it may not be too good, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't like doing the scale 1 to 10. I mean, I think it's a concern. I think, again, I'm hopeful that the people who are not running the FBI and the NSA and the other programs that are supposed to be, or departments watching this, the rank and file, they're doing this because they believe in their country and they're not in politics. It's becoming increasingly worse that they're being politicized. But I think when it comes to something like this, that time will tell. I mean, how many stories did you read over the weekend about this? I mean, I went and looked, and I didn't read anything about it. It's like it didn't exist. It's almost like, they want to put the information out there, and then when it comes time where the spotlight comes back on it, and Clinton was very good at doing this, Miss Clinton was, that's old news.
We need to take that break.
We have a break?
We're going to be right back.
Okay. Thank you.
And her website is report.com. Like you and I go through this all the time, don't we? We're trying to get the right information and getting sent around. And
yeah.
I don't know. I think they're even trying to blow up this radio program and this TV and this Facebook report.
It could quite possibly be. I kind of like just to read this one quote from the folks over at WhatsApp, one of the co-founders of Facebook, who is in charge of the WhatsApp thing. He said, and this is a quote, "This is an unmistakable operation. This hack into these programs led to assassination threats against a lot of women who are in high-ranking positions." So, as a female, you look at that and you've got to question what's going on here. But when you see that, the co-founder here is saying that this is unmistakable, this is what they're doing, where do we go? Does the U.S. need to realign with allies out there? Is this the deep state that's getting involved and trying to make it look like somebody else did it? Was this really Israel, who's supposed to be our friend? I mean, you're seeing President Trump more and more now as he builds up to this 2020 election, that he's really saying, what, forget it. I'm not listening to generals anymore. We got Baghdadi. Well, was that a mistake that we had him at our site several times? And gee, we had a Mr. Bolton that was advising him, and the president was notifying Congress about this stuff. And the first time he decides not to do that, wow, we get him, he's gone. And now you have mainstream media saying, well, now ISIS is stronger than ever. Well, that's ludicrous. It's a ludicrous statement to make. But you're looking at these things, and you're looking at people who just truly do not like this administration and will do anything. So when it comes time, administration, can we trust the senators and congressmen that say, oh, don't worry about it, we're only telling you the truth, when they've lied over and over and over again? So it comes down to, we just don't know. And this could be like the fog of war situation. Maybe that's exactly what they want, so they can get the change they want, and then nobody's going to be able to trace it back to an organization, or if they do, it'll be 3 years later like we are right now. So these are very real issues, and you're not seeing this on mainstream media, and you're not seeing these stories out there for a reason, because they want to go back. Obama, how many times Obama said, oh, God, that's old news. Don't even ask questions about that. That was so old. They put these things out there, and news, the New York Times ran a piece on this, and they go back, and then if anything comes back to haunt them, they can say, well, no, look over here. We gave the New York Times interview, and they did that in May of 2019. Where were you guys at then? So, I mean, these are tactics that people use, is all I'm saying. And we've got a very important election coming up. We have millennials that all they do is look at the TV or their computer screen and get their news from non-traditional news sources. And they don't have the interest of this country in mind.
Yeah, almost out of time, Hillary, but I think it was over the weekend where I saw where the iPhones were hacked somehow or the other, and they could steal all the information you have on it.
Yeah.
Your location.
Yeah, they do backdoors on all of this. They do backdoors. The government has 100% access, whether Apple says they don't, or because they don't want the everybody out there to know that. Do not send an email, do not write a text, and do not leave a voicemail or make a phone call that you don't feel is bad enough to go on the front page of the Washington Post. That's where we are, everyone.